Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome. Got the mic up today. Welcome to a Friday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Parish Construction and Roofing. You need an orthopedist, you go to Brock. You need a roof, you call Parish. And of course, Crystal Poche over at Restored Motions and restoredmotions.com. If you got pain, book a session with Crystal Poche. She'll take you out of it, change your life, I promise. So, okay, y'all. A lot to get into today. The big news on Thursday is that Carius Curne, the number one interior offensive lineman in the country, according to On3 for the 2025 class, he committed to LSU. Big get for Brad Davis from the state of Arkansas, had been committed to the Razorbacks, visited LSU in March, decommitted, now has picked LSU. He is the fourth offensive line commit for the class of 2025 and the third offensive line commit who's inside the top 100 nationally. So Brad Davis is doing real work building up that offensive line. And when you think about it, you've got what will arguably be the best offensive line in college football this year. We'll see how it all plays out, but you're going to lose after the season four starters. You're going to lose Campbell and Jones to the draft, and Dellinger and Frazier are both going to be out of eligibility. So you're going to be replacing four starters on the offensive line next year. And you've done a fantastic job recruiting from Ethan Callaway and Weston Davis and Cohen Eccles, guys that are on the roster right now. Your incoming freshmen. Some real blue chip guys who have been waiting their turn as well. And now this crop coming in, you better believe they'll hit the portal next year as well in the offseason to go try to find some veteran depth. But when you're replacing four starters, there's no reason to believe Curne couldn't come in and push for a starting job. I mean, we saw LSU start two true freshman offensive tackles. If this kid's ready to come in and play, why not? So, On3 rates him as the number one interior offensive line and the 25th overall player in the country at any position. Rivals doesn't think as highly. Rivals has him the number 205 player. 247 has him the number 193 player and the 22nd best interior offensive line. On3 and ESPN rate him much, much more highly. So big time offensive line product, and LSU looks like they're going to get him to campus. So Carius Curne commits the 12th commit for LSU's class. They currently have the number 2 class in the country, despite having just 12 commits. Ohio State's number 1 was 16 commits. Bama's number 3 now with 17 commits. LSU's got 12 and they're number 2. So really, really strong start to this recruiting cycle for 2025 for Brian Kelly and the bunch. Hey, one other note, then we'll get to your questions, comments. Y'all know the drill. As always, please subscribe to the channel. Facebook, please follow the profile. Again, I've always liked the page. Please like my Matt Moscona page, but we're live streaming now from my profile, so that the profile pic is me and Erica from New York City. And you, even if we're not friends there, you can follow. Just hit the follow button to follow the profile, set notifications. So Facebook, long story short, is Facebook changed some of their algorithm stuff. So I'm going live from the profile instead of the page. So please follow if you would. LSU is targeting another player in the transfer portal. I was told this last night. So Connor Harrison is his name. Connor Harrison, 6'3", over 200 pounds, a big dude. His brother is Ryan Harrison, who pitches for the no, not Ryan, Kyle Harrison, who pitches for the Giants. So good pedigree. And he's a big dude. And hit 322 with 8 homers last year as a true freshman in the West Coast Conference at St. Mary's. This would be your catcher depth, and because like Blaze Priester, you hope Cade Arambidi, the freshman, shows up. This would be another catcher who would provide some depth, another big body, another power bat. So keep an eye on Connor Harrison. I'm told LSU reached out yesterday. No visit planned or anything yet, but they reached out yesterday when he jumped in the portal, and good pedigree, hit over 300 as a freshman. and would fill a need at catcher where you clearly have one, where you're still looking for depth. It doesn't sound like Luis Hernandez, the Indiana State transfer, while he has caught some, it doesn't sound like he would be an option behind the plate. It's more first base DH, maybe an emergency catcher. But Connor Harrison, another one they're going after there in the portal. So, okay, y'all, let's say some good mornings. You know the drill. YouTube, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Facebook, like and follow the page there, and get your comments in. Let's go. Hey, Jason, good morning. Abner Neal, woo-doo. David Tolson, nice O-line commit, fill in position of need. That's one of the reasons why, like, it's even more significant, David, is because you are losing four starters on the offensive line. And as we always say, portal giveth, portal taketh away. You're going to lose guys in that position group to the portal. I mean, just like you did. The thing about this year's portal and why line became such an important position is look at the offensive linemen that LSU lost this year. So Joe Cryer never showed up on campus. This format is so bad. Hang on. Ugh. Okay, here we go. Sorry. So, you lost Lance Hurd to Tennessee, Joe Cryer, who signed and never showed up, and then Marlon Martinez, who's now at Mississippi State. Like, you lost some valuable depth pieces and guys that we all assumed were going to be part of the equation next year. Certainly, I mean, I think we all expected Lance Hurd, if he stuck around, was going to be your starting left tackle next year. Well, now that's up in the air, right? So anyway, yes. Sorry for that delay, but it's critical that they go to address offensive line. Not only in this class, they've got 4 committed right now and 3 in the top 100 nationally, but also in the portal this offseason. Hey, Brennan Huff, good morning. Deborah Cowart, Barry, Brian, Tim. There are those that call me Tim. Brad David, name that movie. There are those that call me Tim. Name that movie. Brian Pinton, what's going on? From Marcy, New York. Yeah, man. Big pickup for sure. Jason, good morning, Uncle Scone. Kicks of the day, Team Drew. I'm probably gonna go. I have some blazer lows that are this color blue, so I'm probably going to wear them to match the shirt. That's probably what I'll wear today. But Jason, you'll appreciate this. This is what I rocked yesterday. Jordans. I don't know if you could tell, but it's suede here and on the side. Suede. It's got the elephant print here and on the heel. I love that design as well. There's a different one. It's like a Brooklyn. I don't know if you can read that. It says Brooklyn on it. But there's a different design on the back of each. Obviously the clasp right there with the Jumpman logo on it, in the university red. I love those Jordans. Awesome. That's what I wore yesterday. So the first time I busted them out. Got them at Ruckus, by the way. Chihuahua 1, how's the Scone crew? MOSCONA. Those vowels, tell people all the time. We're good though. Tell people all the time, man. Whenever I do interviews, people are like, hey, well, how can we find your show? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, first of all, you should have looked it up, and then you could have just told your audience. But second of all, I'm like, if you can spell my name, you can find me on the internet. But the vowels trip everybody up. Our family's good, man. Thank you for asking. Drew's trucking along. No school this summer, and normally St. Lillian has these 2 weeks in June, 2 weeks in July, where they kind of do a summer camp learning type deal. And we've sent Drew there each year, but since they're moving campuses this summer, they don't have that. So Drew's been at home. Been a little challenging finding stuff for him to do, but But good. We're all good. Thank you for asking. Prods up. Morning. Heading to work. I'll have to catch the replay. All good, man. Appreciate you for being here when you can. Jesse. Let's see. Green Z. Matt. Is it telling Killen and Root didn't commit on their visit? So I clarified this. I found out Root did not come in last weekend. He's supposed to, did not visit. They still expect that he will. And as far as Gavin Killen, yes. So I did give an update there. He wants to visit. He has one more visit he wants to take, and he said he'd take it whenever that team's time in Omaha was up. Well, it's Texas A&M. He's already visited Tennessee. He went to Tennessee for the regional. He's visited Vanderbilt. He's visited LSU. So he'll visit A&M very likely next week after the College World Series ends. So yes, and it's telling. I mean, you would have obviously preferred to have had him commit after the visit, but he didn't. And if you're going to go listen to A&M, I mean, he may be there when they're having their national championship celebration. And they may offer him a pile of NIL money because it's easier to do that, when you're coming off a CWS finals appearance. So in any event, yes, I don't feel great about it. I'm hopeful, but not optimistic. Put it that way. Christian, morning. Do you think Brad and Bo Davis played rock, paper, scissors for whose room Curne will be in since he's a two-way player at Arkansas? I don't think so, man. I'll tell you what, though, man. He's really impressive. Shay Dixon posted this video on Twitter. I don't know if y'all saw it, but Shay posted this video of Curne doing this like running backflip where he does a cartwheel into a backflip. It's like, oh my God. Apparently he ran a 4.8. I mean, at 6'4", 315, I ran a 4.8 and can do a backflip. I mean, shoosh. Yeah. Crazy, man. Charlie, what's going on? Let's see. Manny, Kirk, James. Oh, good. We have a Bama fan here. Morning, Matt. Keelan Russell won Elite 11 over whatever scrub LSU sent out to represent them. You called him a 3-star. What a donut you are. I don't know what that means, what a donut you are, but I love the fact that Alabama fans are now coming into my streams and my chats just like they're seeking me out. Like, I'm sure this is a lovely person. Kasiochi Afediba? Anyway, I'm sure you're a lovely person, but I absolutely just love the fact that I am trolling the ever-living mess out of you all, and none of you seem to understand it. And by the way, as far as Keelan Russell winning, and the scrub that LSU has committed for this year happens to be the number one player in the country, Bryce Underwood, who is the highest rated prospect in the class and one of the highest rated quarterbacks ever. So he's a lot better than your guy. And the best part about the whole thing is you all want to flex about Keelan Russell winning the Elite 11 MVP. Okay, I tweeted this. Here's a list of past Elite 11 MVPs. Julian Sayin, who, by the way, decommitted from Alabama and flipped to Ohio State. Cade Klubnik, who's not had a very good college career. Spencer Rattler, we know how that went. Shea Patterson, Blake Barnett, Bama legend. Sean White, remember him? Asante Woolard, I swear that's a real human. Neil Burcham, by the way, stuck with his SMU commitment. Tanner Mangum, Jeff Driscoll, Jake Heaps, John Brantley, Rhett Bomar, Kyle Wright. Yep, decorated list, brother. That's the group. Now, there's some good ones. Caleb Williams was an Elite 11 MVP. Who else? Tua was an Elite 11 MVP. CJ Stroud. So, yeah, there have been a couple of good ones. But if you go look at the list since 2002, the Elite 11 MVPs, about 70% of them were guys that completely flopped in college. You got a handful of guys that I just mentioned that played well. Yeah, we're good, really good players. But odds are he don't even finish his career at Bama. That's the odds. But no, just keep whatever helps y'all sleep at night, sweetheart. Whatever helps you sleep at night. I mean, if you want to go prop up Keelan Russell and clutch onto your crimson blanket and feel like everything's going to be okay without Nick, that's fine. But there is an undeniable truth that you all have lowered your standard already. Nick went 15 years and had the number 1 or number 2 recruiting class every year. Last year in his first class, Kalen DeBoer had 9 3-stars. Nick never signed more than 6 in the class. First year, Kalen DeBoer's got 9. He lost 40 players off of last year's team. I'll say it again. You're not going to be bad. You're not going to go 5-7. You're just never going to be elite again. And I can't wait to laugh at y'all every time you lose a game. James, Wendell, Stephen Miller, what up, my dude? Mark Allen, hit the jingle. Mark, if you want the jingle, I got to remember at least to not loop it today. All right, I'm going to turn off the loop. All right, turning off the loop. Here's the
Parish Construction and Roofing. At Parish, we've got you covered. From the top of your roof, all the way down. Parish Construction and Roofing. Parish built. Parish built. Parish built. From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
All right, let's see. Manny, thoughts on Cam Johnson, OU? Yeah, so if you missed that last night, Cam Johnson appears to have committed to Oklahoma. And the head coach at Oklahoma, I did have a conversation with somebody about this last night. He apparently, like, he's Clayton Kershaw's personal coach. Skip Johnson is his name. And apparently is real, like, his forte is working with left-handed pitchers, apparently. And the other thing that they really sold Cam on, I told y'all this. That's one of those instances where I told y'all this without telling y'all this. Cam Johnson really struggled with the pressure of pitching at LSU, being on the bump in front of 10,000 people. Like in the fall, he was unhittable in an empty stadium. At IMG, in front of 50 people, he was unhittable. Lights come on at the box, and there's 10,000 people, and it's a bit like, it was tough. And then LSU just couldn't keep running him out there because they had lost games. They needed to lean on guys they could rely on. So apparently what Oklahoma told him is, look, I mean, most you'll ever get here is 2,500 at a game. It just ain't the same pressure cooker. We'll keep putting you out there. So it's probably a better situation. And LSU does play at Oklahoma in 2025. I would just hate to see Cam Johnson in Oklahoma's rotation and just shove against LSU. That would suck. Kirk, what's going on? Looking like a Tulane fan with that color scheme. Let's see. Corey Lyle, Gunnar Michaels. Morning, Matt. Emphasizing O-line and recruiting is great. I've seen too many teams with incredible skill position struggle because of a weak line. Both lines of scrimmage, really, Gunnar. I mean, when you think about all the great teams, the thing they have in common is they dominated the line of scrimmage. So, yeah, I completely agree. Charlie, heard anything about the right-handed pitcher, Myers, I think is how they say it, from Nichols? Plenty, actually. I know LSU reached out. I just look and wonder, is it starting to get a little crowded in LSU's room as far as starting pitchers? Because keep in mind, we've gone through this. You've got Kate Anderson coming back. You got Chase Shores coming off of injury. We'll see what happens with Griffin Herring. If he comes back, he's coming back to be a starter. You've added Zach Cohen. You've added Devin Sheeran from Mount St. Mary's, who's the number 3 overall player in the portal. And that's 5 right there. And that's not even counting, incoming potential freshmen as well. We'll see what happens with William Schmidt and Boston Bateman. I guess my point is it's just getting crowded, right? So if at this point Myers is looking for a spot in somebody's weekend rotation, LSU can't guarantee him that. Now, his strikeout stuff is awesome, but the walks are a problem. He led the country in walks this year. So if you're going to come to LSU and you're going to average more than a walk per inning, like, you're not going to be in the weekend rotation. So you'd love to have him, and I think they'd love to have him. I think he'd like to be here, but I think it's really a question of, can you justify it? Well, let me say this another way. It's really a matter of what is he looking for. If he's willing to come here and compete, awesome. Yeah, you take him in a millisecond. Or is he looking for somewhere where he's got a clearer path to the field? What a good problem to have, huh? Bubba Smith, Todd G, GameCube Gamer. More Matt. Can't wait for college football. No place like Death Valley on a Saturday night. Michael Thacker. What's the benefit of spending so much time and resources on these top high school guys who aren't going to set a foot on campus? Would be better to target the next tier harder. Because, Michael, you start recruiting them so young and you never know what's going to happen as the draft comes, right? Like, with that mentality, you would have never recruited Alex Bregman, or you would have never recruited Dylan Cruz, or you would have never recruited Cam Johnson. So you realize you're going to lose some of those guys. But the recruiting process starts so young at these showcases. I mean, some of these guys, scouts and coaches know about them when they're in the 7th grade. Well, my goodness, over the next 5 and 6 years, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, there could be an injury. You could have a bad senior year. Alex Bregman could break a bone in his hand and miss a chunk of his senior year and fall out of round 1 and says, all right, I'm going to school. I mean, it's just, that's why you do it, because you never know. I mean, Gavin Guidry passed on $2 million to come to school. I mean, you recruit him because you never know. Kelly Gross, Brennan Huff, Bama fans are salty. Do they not understand? You're just trying to kick the anthill. Either way, it's working. Keep the Gumps angry. It's a lot of fun. Steven, how about your guy Jake Brown raking in the Cape? Huge day yesterday, 3-4 with a homer, 2 home runs total in the summer already. Steven, I would love to see Jake Brown next year. If he makes 50 starts or starts every game, right? I would love to see him be a 15 homer guy. That would solve a lot of your issues, and I think he can be with enough at bats. That would solve a lot of your problems when you're looking at where's the power going to come this year. So, good looking out, man. Appreciate the update there. Let's see. My friend Michael, morning, Matt. Any chance we can land the Louisville shortstop in Zach Root? Yeah, there's a chance. That a boy. Bubba Tatum got it. There's those that call me Team. That was from Monty Python Life of Brian. Jeff, what up, my dude? Trivia Carter, good morning. My friend Michael was asking about Root and Gavin Killen. So yes, there's absolutely a chance. Told Root is still planning on visiting campus. We'll see if and when that happens. And I'm less optimistic about Gavin Killen, but we'll see how it goes. I would love to see that happen flatly, but if he came here, you made your pitch, you didn't get him to commit, and he wants to go visit A&M, and we know A&M has a bigger bankroll, and they're playing in the College World Series Championship Series, his priority may be, let me go get a big bag this year and play in the SEC and still get my draft slot next year also. So we'll see. Charlie, do you think the loss of so many pitchers to the portal was due to change in pitching coaches? No. They didn't change pitching coaches. I mean, you've kept Nate Yeske. I think it's just you had a bunch of guys that didn't pitch, and so guys are going where they think they can get innings. It's a challenging thing. Like, when in years past, Charlie, guys would stay and they'd wait their turn. They don't have to anymore. If you don't pitch, you can go somewhere where you're going to get innings. All right, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Facebook, please follow this Facebook profile. Appreciate you for being there. Brent, what's up? Brett, does Cam Johnson have to sit out a year? Nope. And Jacoby Matthews, it's not that he has to sit out in conference. It's that the portal window closed, which is why when he entered the portal in the spring window, it was too late to transfer within the conference. Had he done it in the first window, he would have been able to do it. So good. Cameron, morning, Matt. Sativa and cappuccino for me this morning. What is sativa? Interesting. I don't know what sativa is. Okay. Oh, there's the guy. He's back again. He must have missed my comment. Let's see. Brad David, how old were you when you knew you wanted to get into radio? I always knew, Brad, that I was going to do media. I didn't know that I would do radio. So when I was in college, I just cold called and emailed and reached out to a bunch of different media companies in town, radio, TV. I wrote box scores for The Advocate on Friday nights. And I just happened to get an opportunity in radio and made the most of it and loved it. Hey, Dad, good morning. Jeremy, I am locked in this morning. I appreciate it, Jeremy. Thanks for being there. Gurrier 4, morning, Matt. Why do the majority of LSU baseball fans not like Tennessee Tony Vitello? I know he comes off cocky. Wonder if there was something specific that triggered it. Well, yeah, I mean, specifically back in 2021, the which Tennessee eliminated LSU in the Super Regional. It was Paul Maneri's farewell, his final weekend. And suffice to say, Tony Vitello wasn't necessarily the most endearing. He's a prickly fella. And that was a really, really sort of that and the regular season series that year, which is kind of raunchy. A lot of comments made in post-game press conferences and stuff like that weren't necessarily the most flattering. And so that sort of started it. And there's obviously been a back and forth since. David Bass, what's up, Matt? I see we got another Bammer in here bragging about a 3-star. It's funny. Let's see. Jason H. Matt, did you get the pictures I took at the Yankee game? I'm not sure, Jason. I'll go check. Let's see. Yes, it is. Chubalt 1. Oh, you're all good. You're all good. You're all good. Oh, I'm way behind. Brett DeGrow, Sambo Fulkerson, former BRCC catcher playing for Saskatoon Berries is LSU worthy. I just haven't heard that name. I mean, I just told you the name that I heard was the St. Mary's catcher Connor Harrison is who they reached out to yesterday. Let's see. Robert Cooley. Good morning, Matt. Tell Terrio my daughter is going to Aruba for a graduation trip. I will. Dale, what's going on? Not getting Facebook notifications. So Dale, so go to my profile. Okay, so forever and ever we did the show on my page, my professional page. Facebook changed algorithm and stuff, so I moved the live stream to my profile, and then I'm sharing it to the page. So go to my profile, follow the profile, and where this is, follow that, and then set notifications there. And just know we'll be here at 7:30. 7:30 Central Time is when we start. So we'll see you. Robert, good morning. Oh, sorry, read that one. Mark Allen, what's going on? Matt, you got to praise Spencer Rattler, Saints 5th round pick. Dude just didn't have a great college career, right? I mean, that's fair. Brian Wynn, keep trolling him out. I love it. They just don't understand. Like it's just fun. It's just Kirk, the Burning Bama segment coming up on AFR today. Do it. Maybe so. They just don't understand. Like they're so focused on what I'm doing. And what I'm doing is having fun and entertaining my audience. And it's going to be hilarious to watch the melt this year when Bama goes 9-3. And, I don't think, did Nick ever have after 2007? I don't know if Nick Saban ever had a 3-loss regular season after that. I know 2010, they lost to LSU, they lost to South Carolina. Oh, then they lost to Auburn. That's right. They did. So 2010, was that the last time? They're just venturing into uncharted territory, and they don't know how to deal with it. They're used to every season, everybody always telling them how great they're going to be. And when it doesn't go that way, they're just not handling it well, which is hilarious. So they went, yeah, that's the only 3-loss season Nick ever had. So in 17, well, forgive me, 2007, obviously Nick's first year. They ended up going to the Independence Bowl. But after that, from 2008 through last year, the only time they ever lost 3 games, that's including the bowl, the only time they ever lost 3 games was the 2010 team when they went 9-3 and then blew out Michigan State in the Capital One Bowl. So imagine if you go 9-3 this year and you haven't lost 3 games in a regular season since 2007. Like, how's that going to go over? And they know it. Like, they all intuitively know it. Like, you lost a bunch of 5-stars from last year. You lost 40 players off your roster. You got a running back playing quarterback. Texas beat you last year in your building. Like, they know it. And so all of the melt that's coming is because they know it. Like, they're very aware that they're vulnerable for the first time in 2 decades. And so that's why when I point it out, they melt over it. And it's just beautiful. And it's why I keep doing it. Like, if they ignored me, I wouldn't keep doing it. But the fact that every time I do it, they all melt, it just makes me want to keep doing it more, which is very sophomoric, I understand, but I don't really care. Like, listen, Bama burning is one of the greatest segments in my radio history, and it's not even close. My audience loves it. Bama fans hate it. It's the same reason I yell Calici all the time. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Rocky, what's going on? Kevin, with Curry withdrawing from the draft, does it give you hope with any of the other guys making it to campus? Griffin and Caminiti, absolutely not. Aaron Beatty, I think there's a really good chance he does. Schmidt and Bateman, I think it's a long shot, but you might get Bateman. I think it's a long shot, but we'll see. And again, y'all, and by the way, so I told you before that you don't formally withdraw from the draft. You can tell teams not to pick you, but once you're in the portal, the draft, like the draft portal, like where you've done your physical and all that stuff, like you don't delete yourself out of there. So, and then Kylie McDaniel came on AFR a couple days ago and corrected me and said, no, there is a process. They started a rule a couple of years ago, yada, yada. I talked to a MLB scout yesterday who called me, heard that and was like, that's wrong. Like once you're like, it went and checked. It's like, once you're in that database, like you don't delete yourself. You can tell teams, don't pick me, I'm not signing. But anyway, so there's a minimum some confusion there on that. So all right. Kirk, I understand recruiting nationally. Seems like there's going to be less Louisiana talent on the roster this coming baseball season, just perception wise. What's really happened, Kirk, is it's just what's happened with the roster limits. Like when Skip coached, there were no roster limits. Some of those championship teams had 45, 50 guys on them. Well, you could get the guy from Louisiana who would walk on at LSU or get tops or something like that, who would give his arm just to put on that uniform. Was never going to play, but just wanted to be part of the program. Like, and sometimes those guys develop and become good contributing players. When you have 11.7 and you have the roster limits, which have been expanded since COVID, but you have to be more selective. So I think just like in football, how, the transfer portal has hurt the lower tiered guy, right? For example, if you're like a 2-star, 3-star, low 3-star guy coming out of high school, you may not get the Power 5 opportunity. Whereas before, they may sign you. Like Lloyd Cushenberry is a great example. Like here, this is a great example. So Lloyd Cushenberry was literally the last guy in his class. He's from Dutchtown. It was like, all right, hold on signing day. We'll see if we have a spot with the hard cap at 25. Ultimately, they did. He signs, he stays, and finally gets a chance to play in years 4 and 5 and was a really good player, got drafted and signed the richest center deal in the NFL. Great story. In this era, Lloyd Cushenberry may not have a spot at LSU. Now, you've lifted the hard cap at 25, but the point is, do you take the lower rated guy, or do you go on the portal and get someone who is a 3-year player who's got 1 year, like a Jordan Jefferson last year, for example? Do you go get that guy who's 4 years in college, has played a bunch of games, has experience, it's for 1 year, but is going to make you better immediately? Or do you take the guy that you'll develop? More so what happens now is the guy goes somewhere else in a lower classification, plays for 2 or 3 years, and then when he's ready, jumps to the higher classification. So I mean, it's just changed how it's going. So let's see. Bama has the best recruiting class in the SEC. Brian Kelly will never win a natty. I mean, so here's the on 3 rankings, and Ohio State is number 1, LSU is number 2, and Alabama is number 3. And when you look at it, you see Alabama here has 17 commitments and LSU has 12. What we call that is quality over quantity. Bama's number 3 with 17 commitments. And oh, by the way, 0 5-stars, and 4 3-stars. Boy, it's a new day in Tuscaloosa. LSU has 12 commitments and has a higher ranking and rating than Alabama with 5 fewer commitments. See, that's quality over quantity. So catch me in November. Catch me in November. But to say Bama has the best recruiting class is just factually inaccurate. I just showed you. It's just wrong. Please post the Alabama mini rant from a few minutes ago and post it. That's so classic. I need to listen to it again so I can quote you. Pegasus J. If you put the starting SC quarterbacks next year in tiers, what tier would Nuss be in? I think the best quarterback in the SEC is Quinn Ewers. I don't know that I'm super sold on Carson Beck. He had a nice year last year, but I do wonder how much of it was Carson Beck, how much of it is you just have the best team, right? You're the quarterback on the best team. Similar to Stetson Bennett when he was at Georgia. Stetson Bennett wasn't a great player. He just was a 27-year-old who was the quarterback of a bunch of NFL guys. I'm not a believer in Jalen Milroe, all the Bama joking notwithstanding right now. Like, seriously, I just look at what he did against Michigan. He threw for 116 yards. He got benched against South Florida. I just don't think Milroe, and maybe this year he makes a big giant leap. So I think Milroe is a fantastic athlete. Like, his running ability torched LSU last year, which is awesome. But if you're asking me, like, is he would I want my NFL team to draft Jalen Milroe? No. Ewers, I think you probably have that next group that's like Brady Cook, Jackson Dart, guys that are experienced, established SEC quarterbacks. And then a tick below that is where I'd put Nussmeier. And it's just because we haven't seen Nussmeier play. I mean, he's a fourth-year guy, but he started one game in his career. So, like, I'm hopeful. I mean, I think he's got all the ability, right? I mean, he's got the physical ability, can make all the throws, and he's a mature kid now, son of a coach. Checks all those boxes. We just haven't seen him play. So it's almost like Carson Beck a year ago, a guy who was highly regarded, waited his turn, got a chance to play and played really well. I think you could see the same, with Nuss there. Let's see. Oh, here, I guess we got a lot of Bama guys here today. Here's another one. Bert, who said, "What a loser." So Bert, just as an FYI, loser 1-0. Like, I get it. Like, third grade grammar is hard, but if you take something away from this, file away that loser has 1-0. LOOSER is looser. Just as an FYI. Kevin, folks got to remember LSU already has commits from the class of 2028. To your point, Scone starts early. That kid is an incoming high school freshman. He's talking about baseball, by the way. Yes. Kirk, can both Tennessee and Texas A&M lose the series? I wish. Look at old Greg Lehman. Ask Musso, Matt. Musso's not here. Hunter Bam. Apparently, my girlfriend is fed up with the Paris jingle. She has requested I stop singing it nonstop while working around the house. Hunter, I'm telling you, man, it's the key to a great jingle. You're not writing a concerto. This isn't Beethoven. It's not Tchaikovsky. You're just trying to get something that sticks in people's head. And Toby Tomplay is the best at it. I don't even know what to tell you. He's awesome. Let's see. Hey, Larry, good morning. Club Ruckus, what's up? Greg Lehman asked Matt, what's the next fundamental shift in college athletics that will chase great coaches out of the game? Well, I don't know if it'll chase coaches out of the game, Greg, but I think, and I've said this for years, so it's not like I'm only saying this because we've seen this evolution. Like, I've literally said this for years. We are going to see college football break away, and it will just be college football. There won't be conferences. It's not going to be like the SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC, the Big 12, all doing their own TV deals. It's going to be an invite only or a buy-in only. And it's going to be 40, 50 teams, whatever that number is. And they, like the NFL, go and negotiate their TV deal collectively instead of having each league do it. So, I mean, that's where we're headed. That is the inevitability, especially when now you're talking about revenue share. The model is not sustainable for college athletic departments because college athletic departments largely lose money. That's something that's lost. Now, Trev Alberts, who's now the AD at A&M, which is still weird to say, said it a few weeks ago, and he's right. Like college football and college athletics doesn't have a revenue problem. They have a spending problem. And unless if these athletic departments are willing to wildly scale back spending, your revenue isn't going to outpace your spending. And especially as spending now has to dramatically increase if you're going to pay $22 million a year to your athletes, like something has to change. I mean, Ross Dellinger wrote a great piece how some athletic departments are now considering private equity to to be able to fund these things. So, I mean, what other option is there? Eventually, you're going to have to shift the structure of your business, and it's a business. So that's what's coming. So, let's see. Has Fowler responded with an LSU is burning segment? No, I don't think he has. But Ryan did text me last night. He was like, "Thanks for all the content." Like, Brennan Huff, Schmidt wants to go to LSU. The money will be too high. Completely agree. Where are we? Kobe Walker, what's going on? Blaze Thomas, who will be a stud coming out of your Catholic High program, will be a junior O-line big-time player. Yeah, Blaze, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that's Ryan Thomas's son. And I think Blaze, I could be wrong on this. I think Blaze went to St. Jude, where my wife works. But yeah, he's already starting to get big-time offers, and he'll be a big-time player next year, man. I know I yell Catholic High a lot, and people hate that I do that, except the Catholic High people who love it. But the real I guess the real story that LSU fans should be concerned with is the fact that Catholic has become a factory, and you better want every one of those kids to go to LSU. And I mean, even you talk about baseball from Aaron Nola and Austin Nola and Josh Smith, and I mean, we all know the long list, and now William Schmidt's there. And that baseball pipeline ain't stopping anytime soon. But the same with football. I mean, you got Shelton Sampson last year, of course, Clyde and Darius Geis, Emory Jones, Catholic High. I mean, and then you look at what's next. Blaine Bradford is a 5-star safety, number 1 safety in the country for next year. You mentioned Thomasy. I mean, there's just a long list, man, of really, really talented athletes over there. And you better embrace it because you want all those kids to end up in the purple and gold. Let's see. All right, smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel. Rex, what's going on? Robert, Matt, I actually feel bad for Les. I think a lot of our fans forget he did win us a lot of games in spite of some of his deficiencies as a coach. Yes, Les had a great run, man. He won a national title. Les won a title, played for another, won 2 SEC titles, played for a third. He was consistent for a long time in the most difficult league in the country with the greatest coach in the history of college football in your division. I mean, that was ultimately the bugaboo. But, I mean, Les Miles wins in order 11, 11, 12, 8, 9, 11, 13, 10, 10, 9, or 8, 9, and that's ultimately then he got fired in 2016. But, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, 7 double-digit win seasons, won a national title, played for another. I mean, yeah, he was fantastic. It's just that you had to look across the sideline at Nick Saban, the guy who used to be your coach and was in the middle of an era where he won 6 national titles in 12 years. I mean, it sucks that it happened that way, but Bama King, Milrose still beat LSU. He did, because LSU's defense was atrocious, but you're missing the point. I'm not talking about LSU. I'm talking about Bama. I've never even said that LSU would beat Bama this year. I just said Bama's going to lose 3 games and y'all are going to melt. That's my point. Like, you continue to try to, Bama fans continue to try to flip it into an LSU conversation, but I have not in any of my Bama is burning rants ever mentioned LSU. because it's not an LSU topic. It's more about Bama not being what they were anymore. Which, if the only thing you can say to me is but LSU, well, then now you're moving the goalpost because it's about Bama not being what they were. Whatever you need to tell yourself to justify being in an LSU chat works for me. That's so true. I mean, I'm thrilled that they're here because they just keep increasing my metrics, my watch time, my interactions, my impressions, my engagement, all of it. So please tell all the Bama people to come here and watch and post. Please, I would love that. John Palmasano, what up, John? Lance, where are the OTB guys? Tuned in, nobody's there today. Yeah, but Jake, T-Bob's on vacation. He's out until T-Bob's out maybe Monday, Tuesday next week. And Jake had something today as well with his family. So Jake's back on Monday. T-Bob, I think, is back on Wednesday, maybe. Okay, where are we? Greg, that was in response. You're not. Oh, sorry, I missed it. Steven, I think we've seen enough of Nuss in situations to know we will get that and more from Nuss moving forward with the more reps with ones, game plans designed for him. I agree, Steven. It's one of the reasons why I'm optimistic about it. There is something just to be said for how does it look when you go through the ups and downs of a 12-game a 12-game schedule, 8 SEC games, all this stuff. We just haven't seen it. So, right. Where are we? Bama fans infiltrating morning scan. This is so good. Where are we? This is one of the 5 steps of acceptance that Saban is no longer the coach. So is this grief or is this anger? What are the 5 stages of grief? It's denial, anger. What are they? Anger, denial, stages of grief. Let's look at this together, see where Bama fans are. Okay, here it is. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, then acceptance. So I think they're in anger right now. Are they in denial? Are they still in denial or are they in anger? I think they're in denial right now. It's denial right now. They're in denial. And then when they start losing, then it's going to be anger. And then their anger will turn into bargaining. Like, okay, what do we have to do to get Nick back? And then when they realize he's not coming back, then they'll go into depression. And then eventually they'll accept it after DeBoer's fired and they hire someone else. Cameron, any other infielders LSU may target if they miss on Killen? I do know that they are actively looking in the portal for potential shortstops. But if you miss on Gavin Killen, like your best option, like your fingers crossed hope might be that Braswell doesn't go pro, that either he's like a late round selection and decides not to sign, or you could put together some type of NIL package, just convince him to come back. Like had Cole Freeman in studio the other day, if y'all missed it, Cole and Kramer both passed on draft money to come back for their senior years. And Cole told me point blank, he said Cole got picked in round, I think he and Kramer were both round 4 guys, weren't they? But Cole Freeman told me he got half the money as a senior sign than what he had been offered the year before. It's like a round 16 guy. I think he told me he got $150K, and the offer the year before was over 300 that he passed on to come back. Let me see. Yeah. So in 2016, the Dodgers took him in round 18, and he was offered over 300K. Comes back for his senior year, goes in round 4, and he got 150K. So he got half the money that he would have gotten the year before in round 18. He got half the money in round 4. So if you're Bama, I just read Bama's in denial. If you're Braswell, you might have that decision to make. Like, do you take $100,000, which if he's a late round pick, maybe a team gives him $100K, right? Do you take $100K and go start your pro career? Or do you run it back at LSU? Maybe LSU gets you some NIL money, and then you go pro next year. The challenge is too, when you get to be 22, 23 years old, you're now an old prospect, right? It's harder Because pro teams want to get you in younger and start you through their organization to maximize your years potentially with the big club. If you make it, it's harder as a 22, 23-year-old to make your way, not impossible, but just harder to make your way through a system if it goes that way. Ken Gode, what's going on? Any more? Where are we? David, Les's inability to integrate an effective passing game into the offense ultimately led to his demise. No doubt, David. I mean, Les, it's not a new opinion, and it's something that I think everybody has talked about for years. But Les's offenses were explosive early. Jimbo was here. You had Jamarcus. I mean, remember Gary Croton came in. He was the wizard in 2007. I mean, they averaged 42 a game, whatever it was. I mean, they were creative and fun. And Perilou was supposed to be the guy in 2008. He got kicked off the team. You end up starting Andrew Hatch, who got injured. Then you started Jarrett Lee as a redshirt freshman. And, you tried to run that same offense, and he just made a lot of mistakes and whatever it was, 7 pick sixes that year, whatever it was. And Les just made the determination that he was never going to lose games that way again. And so, in 2008 or 2009, they started Jordan Jefferson, and they just decided they were going to play defense and run the ball. And that's what they did. They built up elite level defenses, strong offensive lines, deep stable of running backs, and they were awesome. I mean, LSU in 2011 had the best season in their history. You were 13-0. You were dominant. And Bama got a second chance, and they were an awesome team. You couldn't beat them twice. So, how different is Les's legacy if you play Oklahoma State in that championship game instead of Alabama? And he wins a second title. And at that point, he was 3-2 against Nick at that point. But losing the championship game started the 8-game losing streak. So, it's a complicated legacy with Les, because he did a lot of good, but sometimes when things end badly, it in some ways can cloud or overshadow all the good. But what ends up happening in time is you forget about the bad feelings and the good times come to pass. I mean, it's like, think of any breakup, any relationship. You're in time, when the dust settles, you remember the good times. I mean, look at Paul Dietzel. This is a different era, but look at Paul Dietzel. Paul Dietzel wins a national championship at LSU. He leaves LSU for Army, which at the time, Army was the premier program in college football, right? Or one of them, certainly. He leaves LSU for Army. And he doesn't make it an Army, ends up going to South Carolina, gets booed by LSU fans when they played South Carolina. But ultimately, later in life, Paul Dietzel came back, spent the rest of his life in Baton Rouge, was a beloved figure, was very present around LSU until he died. And people forgot that he left LSU for Army, and it went that way. And I think in time, the same will probably happen with Les. It may happen with Nick as well. Like you'll remember. I mean, I was on Crane and Company last week, and the guys asked me. I think it was Blaine who asked me. He's like, "Why?" He's like, "Do you hate Nick Saban?" Or how? He said, "How much do you hate Nick Saban?" I said, "I don't hate Nick Saban. I revere Nick Saban. I'm forever grateful to Nick for what he did, because when he came here, he forced everybody to shift the way they thought and approached LSU football. I mean, LSU went from an also-ran mentality to having expectation and winning. And that's all because Nick lit that fuse. And so, I mean, I hated watching LSU lose to him for, better part of 2 decades, and I wish he had done that here. But it doesn't mean I hate Nick Saban. Like, he didn't leave LSU for Alabama. He left LSU for the NFL, something we all knew at the time was something he was going to do eventually. Like, if he had come back into college and gone and coached at USC instead of at Alabama, we'd all feel differently about it. But anyway, so I guess my point is talking about Les. I think it's true with all this. Like, in time, the time passes and you tend to accentuate the positive parts of your past. And I think that will happen with Les in time. I don't know if he'll live to see it, but I think that will happen with Les. This is the point. It's so weird that Bama fans are watching a BR-based radio host because he makes fun of Bama, Insecure University. It's the stages of grief. They're going through denial. They're just not used to having people tell them they're not going to be good, and they don't know how to deal with it because it's the first time in 2 decades that's happened. Because they have for 2 decades have gotten the benefit of the doubt. Where are we? Jordy feels about Les the way you feel about Ed. Adamant Les isn't a Hall of Fame coach. Sometimes personal feelings get in the way. If you just look black and white on paper, what he did, could Les have done more? Absolutely. But Ed Orgeron, as a head coach, has a losing record. I mean, Les Miles won 65% of his games and coached in a tough place at Oklahoma State, and then was in the SEC during Saban's era, and like that's not even really debatable. Les Miles' record, like his on-field record, is a Hall of Fame caliber record. That's not even debatable. Until the vacation of the wins. So okay. Derek, will Ryan be on AFR today? He is not going to be on AFR today, Derek, unfortunately. So Terrios are in out of town for soccer. So the girls are in an elite soccer tournament thing. So anyway. Oh no. Just make sure Nuss isn't walking on any fishing piers. That is a Miles Brennan reference, of course, when Brent, and there was this whole story about Brennan. People said, "Oh, was he drinking?" No, he was not, man. He was holding his gear like in both hands, walking, and he was wearing flip-flops, and he kicked up. There was a board, and he just tripped on a board, fell, and broke his arm. Like, that's what happened. I feel bad for that guy. Persevered through so much, man. It just wasn't meant to be. I don't know if it's Al or if that's AI. Matt, is it possible to move a family with a 3-year-old to Baton Rouge safely to attend LSU law? What do you mean to move to Baton Rouge safely? Like to live somewhere safe in Baton Rouge? Of course. I mean, like every city, Baton Rouge has parts that are dangerous, that are more crime-infested areas, but there's great parts of Baton Rouge. Like I love the part of town where I live. We've owned 2 homes in Baton Rouge in both parts of town. I loved where we lived. Where are we? Let's see. Hey, Taylor Hudson. Good morning. This is so funny. We're dive bombing your chat. I don't think you understand. I'm glad that you're here because all you're doing is increasing my watch time, my impressions, my engagement, and it's making me money. So please put this on all of the Alabama message boards and tell all of them to come. I'll gladly ignore some of you to make sure I get to the comments I want to, but please invite everybody. Like go post it on Facebook, whatever message board. Y'all come on in. That's great. I would love for more of you to come and just continue driving up all of my engagement. While you're at it, please tell everybody to listen to the Locked On LSU podcast. I would be great. I would be extremely grateful if you would share the Locked On LSU podcast with all of your Bama friends. And then also, I'll be on today at 3:00 Central Time on After Further Review on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. As a matter of fact, hang on. Let me I'm going to put both those links in the chat for you. For if the Bama folks are still watching, I would greatly appreciate this. Let's see. All right, here's where you can find my live stream today at 3:00. I would love it. Like seriously, all the Bama people, what I just posted at 3:00, I'll be on air. I would absolutely adore if you all would just go into that chat for 3 hours and just argue with all the people in there, because all the people in there don't like me anyway. So that's actually a really, really good opportunity for you. So those are like LSU fans and listeners of my show that don't like me. So to all of the Bama people watching right now, I just posted the link for my radio show's live stream on YouTube. Please take that, share it everywhere among Bama circles. 3 o'clock from 3 to 6. Y'all go in there for 3 hours and just bombard that chat for 3 hours. I would love to see the explosion of Bama fans in my radio show's live stream talking to the LSU fans that already don't like me. That would be a lot of fun. That would be great. That's actually a wonderful idea. And I'll also, let's see, I'll post Locked on LSU here for you as well, if you wouldn't mind. Here you go, Bama people. Here's Locked on LSU's YouTube. And if I could, I don't want to ask too much of all of you. Locked on LSU on Apple. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Yeah, boom. This is awesome. All right, and here is Locked on LSU on Apple. So yeah, please do me a favor. I mean, I would greatly appreciate it if y'all would go share. Like, there's a lot of my links, so just go share my links to all of the Alabama people. Like, go send it to Ryan Fowler and let him share it to all of his radio people and put it on all the message boards. I would love. That'd be great. That'd be great. Well, let's see any more. All right, it's 8:31. I got to get going. Y'all have a 9 o'clock. Let's see. Now, this is a conversation. This is like a legitimate conversation that I wouldn't mind having with Bama people. If Les Miles could win a couple of championships, DeBoer will definitely win some. All he does is win. So there's one critical difference. And I do like this conversation, by the way, in all seriousness. Hey, look, here's this is a very reasonable Alabama fan. Les Miles deserves to be in the Hall. He was a memorable coach. He was one of the game's most notable personalities of that era, and also won. But to the point about, here's the point that I'll make about DeBoer. And I know this, I want to say this. So the Alabama fans that have melted, you know what's so interesting about the Keelan Russell thing is I've been doing the Bama is burning segments since Nick retired. And I've probably done 15 of them, maybe more. It's so interesting. I'm being serious now. Like I'll be serious now. It's interesting to me what pops, like, and what takes off and what doesn't, because like I said, I've done more than a dozen of those segments. Like, why did the Keelan Russell one go viral? I don't know. I mean, that wasn't even, I thought, the best one. I mean, I've had way better ones than that, but anyway, but that's the one that popped. So I'm curious as to why that was the one that took off. But the point about DeBoer, and I agree with you. I think Kalen DeBoer, he has won everywhere he's been. He's been a really good coach, and he's inheriting a great situation with a program that has won unlike any 6 titles in 12 years, and taken over for Nick, all that stuff. The problem is the expectation, and this is where I think DeBoer has an issue. It's exactly what happened with Smoke Laval at LSU. Skip Bertman won 5 national titles in 10 years. They even had a transition year in 2001 where Smoke was on the staff, sort of a coach in white waiting deal. And Smoke went to Omaha twice, but he just couldn't maintain that standard, and he was gone. And then they hired Paul, and Paul won a national championship in year 3 and stayed for 15 years. So I think that's what DeBoer is up against. I think he's a good coach. I think he's won everywhere he's been. I think he's a smart guy. He is just walking into something with which he is completely unfamiliar, and where the expectations are going to be completely unrealistic. And that's the problem. Like, if Bama goes, I just said, like, if Bama goes 9-3 this year, let's just say hypothetically they go 9-3, which is possible, right? This is the point. So, Bama's projected by the way, Bama's win-loss projection in Vegas is the same as LSU's this year. It's over under 9.5. So they go under that number, they go 9-3. So they got Western Kentucky, South Florida, then they're at Wisconsin. I don't think Wisconsin's going to be any good. I don't know a ton about Wisconsin, but I don't think that they're going to be great this year. But we'll see if Luke Fickell gets them going, but whatever. Then you get Georgia, which you're going to lose that game. Georgia's flatly better than you. I don't care that it's in Tuscaloosa. Same thing with Texas last year. You're going to lose to a better team. You get Vanderbilt, South Carolina. Then you got to go to Tennessee. And I think that's going to be a really tough game in Knoxville. We'll see how their quarterback does and what Bama even looks like by that point in the season. Missouri. Is Missouri actually a contender? Don't know, but we'll see. Then you're in Baton Rouge. It's Mercer, at Oklahoma, and then Auburn. I mean, I just laid out 5 games, and even if you want to include Missouri, games that Bama could lose. If you split them, you're a 9-3 football team. And that's just not going to sit well. That's the problem. And I don't think DeBoer, let's say he goes 3 years without winning a national championship, it's already been 3 since Bama won a title. Are Bama fans going to tolerate a 6-year drought? I mean, they won the fake title in the COVID year and haven't won one since. So what if you go 3 more years and now it's a 6-year drought and DeBoer goes 3 years? You didn't win one for the last 3 of Saban. Now all of a sudden you start to look like Clemson, where it's like you had your moment and it's like, did the moment pass you by? That's what everybody's talking about with Clemson right now. So that's what I think. I don't think Clemson's not a bad program. They're still getting good players and they're winning and they're a good team, but they're not where they were. And that's what I think is going to happen with Bama. They're still going to be a really good program. DeBoer's a good coach. They're going to get players. They got resources and all that. It's just never going to be like it was when you won 6 titles in 12 years. And that's the problem that Bama's going to have. And that means it's not that everybody else caught Bama. It's that they regressed to the pack. Everybody else, there was really good programs. LSU's a really good program, but LSU would have dips. And every 4th or 5th year, they'd have this explosive boom. 2011, 2016 should have been a great team. 2019 won the national championship. Is this year or next year with LSU, with the way recruiting is going, is that when they break through? It might not be till 26. When I think about how good this 25 class is and the bumper crop in the state in 26, you could look at how you're setting up for a couple of real, this stretch of, this 4-year run where you may be able to make this 4-year stretch where you may be able to make a couple of runs. But it's not a thing where every year you expect to be there because it's not realistic. And that's where Bama is falling back to. That's the very sensible way of making the point that I've made. I just am very theatrical on the air and I love doing the Bama's burning stuff. But anyway. Greg said Jordy has a vendetta against O and Les. Not my business. Not my business. I mean, I don't have a personal vendetta against either of them. Ed did not like me because I was very critical of the hire. But I never said anything against Ed Ogeron, the person, right? The man. As a matter of fact, I wish I had this audio, and I don't know how I could even find it at this point, because we switched, servers and podcast servers and all that stuff of our on-demand stuff. But when Ed got hired, the first thing I said on air is how do you not feel great as a human for that guy? When he teared up talking about his dad and a guy from Louisiana who gets his dream job, if you just cheer for people in life, how do you not feel good for him getting his dream job? I mean, I've said that very plainly. And I also said, but from a football standpoint, you have lowered your standard. I mean, you're LSU. You could hire darn near anybody you want, and you hired a guy that was 3-21 in the league at Ole Miss. You took an unnecessary risk hiring that guy. That's what I said. And Ed never forgot it, man. But I don't have any personal vendetta against Ed, or I like Les personally. Les's family was always very kind to me. Kathy was always very kind to me. The kids, Ben went to Catholic, and Smacker worked with us for a little while on radio. I didn't know Macy as well, or Manny, but I, you know, nothing but good things to say about them as people. Um, so, uh, but it's one of the things about, like, I do say often, it's like, if you the hardest part about being in the opinion media is giving opinions, because when you give an opinion, no matter what, when you give an opinion, you are going to upset somebody. There's just no way around it. So you just have to be very comfortable. Like, look at what's happening today with all the Bama people in here. Like, you just have to be very comfortable with that. And I am. I've done this long enough to where you just, like, when this ends, I'm just gonna go make a coffee and go about my day because I have a lot to do today, and I won't, I won't think about this again until 3:00. Let's see. Um, ba- 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 ba. um, See, this guy saying, well, wait, hang on, I passed it. Darn it. This guy says, talk to Bama fan. Nobody expects more than 10-2. So it's so easy to, and trust me, like, from this standpoint, this is where you and I can see eye to eye, because you're now living in a reality that LSU has lived in for a long time, because Nick isn't there anymore. Every LSU fan will say before a season, hey, what do you think he'll do this year? 9-3, 10-2, be good with that. But when you get into game week and when you lose that game on a Saturday, it's melt. Our highest rated shows always are after a loss. The single big, I want to show y'all something. I'm gonna show y'all. Hang on. Please give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna show you the most listened to and watched day of the entire year in last year. Hang on. I'm getting there. Doggone it. Hang on. I'm sorry. Just give me a second. I'm almost there. Okay. I wish this would. Anyway. Okay. This is the last 365 days on ESPN. Okay. This is the last 365 days on ESPN. Do you see that giant needle? The giant needle right here? That's the day LSU lost to Florida State. This over the other one here, that was the baseball national championship. You can say whatever you want to say about, oh, we're good with 10-2. Like, you can say that. But actions speak louder than words. And I live in our metrics, our data. I know when LSU lost to Florida State, it was our single biggest day of the entire year. So you can tell me all you want about you live with this, we're happy with that. No, you're not. And you shouldn't be, because that's when you start to lower your standard. That's what I tell LSU fans all the time. Like, don't lower your standard. Don't be happy with what that expectation is. It's, trust me, and it's something that's gone on here for a long time. So for part of the last 2 decades, really. All right, we might be just about done. So good. Let's see. All right, we might be about done. All right, I gotta go. Oh God, it's 8:45. Oh my God, I gotta go. I have a 9 o'clock. I have to go. All right. Thank y'all for watching. Bama people, again, please remember 3:00. I'm live on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. I would love it Would love it, love it, love it. Yeah, exactly. It's like, so Bama people were saying Nick Saban was at the end of his time. Like they wanted Nick Saban to go get rid of. Yes, you go 9-3. Those post game shows on those Saturdays, cool. Yeah, it's gonna be anyway. So anyway, Bama people who are here, remember, set an alarm, 3:00. Would love to have all of you come into the After Further Review YouTube chat at 3:00 and really mix it up there with all of my radio audience again, who most of them don't like me anyway, in that chat. So that would be some epic interneting. So look, Greg knows. And I never look at my chat during my show, like literally never. Hand to Bible, never. I may actually look at it today. Okay, I gotta go. Y'all have a great day. See you. Peace.